Hey Tamers, this is Amity coming at you from the Corvid Cache, and today I wanted to show off my first set 1.5 deck that I built, and arguably one of the ones I was most excited about. That is going to be Legend Arms. So without further ado, we will go ahead and get kicked off here. So for DigiX, we are just playing 4, and it is going to be Digimon. Digimon has the inherited ability, when there are 5 or more cards in your opponent's trash, the Digimon gets 1000 power. This is super good for getting over thresholds and things like that, and I'll kind of explain things at the end of the video like I typically do with deck profiles. So, for level 7, as our primary boss card for the deck, the leader of the Legend Arms, for level 7s, it is 4 Ragnaloardmon. Ragnaloardmon is a 14,000 power, 14 to play, 3 to Digivolve from red or black. He has security attack +1, reboot, and when Digivolving, you may place 1 Durandamon or Ragnaloardmon from your hand into his Digivolution sources to get 3 memory. This repays the cost to Digivolve into him. A lot of people have referred to this card as a Storm, and that just could not be a better analogy in my opinion. When Ragnaloardmon hits the field, your opponent does have to scramble for resources and stop you before you completely just wipe them out in 1 or 2 swings. Now for level 6s, the correct ratio in my opinion is 3 Durandamon and 3 Ragnaloardmon. Neither of them have any abilities on their own. They're both 12,000 power, level 6s, 10 to hard play, 3 to Digivolve from black or red, but Durandamon does give the Digimon piercing, and Ragnaloardmon gives the Digimon over him blocker. And at the end of the video, I will kind of explain exactly how that ends up working. Our next level 6 is going to be 2 Blitzgreymon. Blitzgreymon is a 12,000 power level 6, 12 to play, 4 to Digivolve into from black or red. He has piercing, so whenever he attacks a Digimon, he will still deal damage. And when you Digivolve into him, you can Digivolve 2 off of one of your opponent's Digimon. He is a very good control Digimon. In my opinion, he is a very hard hitter. I have recently been considering dropping him down to 1 to play 1 copy of Volcanic Dramon for Rookie Rush. But he is just a powerhouse versus green, which is everywhere right now. Moving on to our level 5s, the first of them is going to be Duramon. Duramon is a 7,000 power, 6 to play, 3 to Digivolve into. He is vanilla, but under a level 7, he will give security attack +1. This is super important for later. Next up, this is a Digimon I've been waiting for. I was not surprised it wasn't in set 1.0, but I was a little disappointed it wasn't. Lavogaridamon is the 7 to play, 2 to Digivolve into, 8,000 power level 5. He is just a very good swinger. There are very few times that you ever really fear going into security with Lavogaridamon. He lets you get in a little early aggro, and he's super cheap to kind of get your Digivolutions going. The last level 5 I play is Groundramon. This could be a flex spot. After playing the deck a lot, I really valued the additional low play level 5 to kind of get up into level 6 faster. But this can be another blocker. If you really wanted, something I may end up trying is to drop it for Volcanic Dramon for the Rookie Rush matchup. Moving on to level 4s, the next Legend Arm is going to be Zuba Eagermon. He is a 4,000 power, 4 to play, 2 to Digivolve into, and if he's under a level 7, he gets security attack +1. So I'm sure you're already kind of seeing here kind of the play. Ragnaloardmon definitely does have a particular setup he does have in mind, and I'll be able to kind of show that to you at the very end. Next up, as Digivolve climbing is super important in this deck, we have to play 4 Dark Tyrannomon. I've seen some people playing Greymon from the starter deck that gives an extra security attack over this. I just value the 1 cost to kind of get into Ragnaloardmon as fast as possible. There's not a lot to say with him. There are quite a few vanillas in this deck because the primary effect you want to resolve is just attacking very hard with Ragnaloardmon. And lastly, I'm only playing 3 blockers. I found the 4th blocker to be a little cloggy. There's not really much to say with Cordramon. When you attack with him, you lose 2 memory. You're really never going to do that unless your opponent is completely out of security and he's just your last attack. That did happen once in the tournament I played in, but overall, the blocker is really valuable for a rookie rush and just kind of keeping yourself alive. As a lot of people have said, this deck is a glass cannon, so we'll take pretty much anything we can. Moving on to level 3s, one of my favorite Digimon in general, and one of the most important combo pieces in the entire deck is going to be Zubamon. Zubamon, just a little piece of trivia here, he was made for the 20th anniversary Digivices they came out with, if you didn't know. So he is super cool and has a very important kind of spot in Digimon's history. But clocking in at 1000 power, 3 to play, 0 to Digivolve into, you reveal the top 5 cards of your deck when you play him to add 1 Ragnaloardmon and 1 Digimon with Legend Arm in its name to your hand. Then you get to put the rest in the bottom of your deck in any order. Throughout a couple of the games I played today, I was actually able to kind of get to a point where I knew the cards I was going to see before I drew them because of the different stacking abilities this deck does have. And also because of an unconventional tech choice I play at the very end, but I'll explain that when we get there. Next up, I'm going to be playing 4 Agumon. Agumon is the primary level 3 of the red starter deck with 2000 power, 3 to play, 0 to Digivolve into, but most importantly, he does give 1000 DP to the Digimon he is under. This helps Ragnaloardmon be able to hit over even more thresholds than he already was able to hit through. So that is very powerful. And if you don't draw your Agumon, another fantastic option is Guilmon. Guilmon is the level 3, 3000 power, 3 to call, 0 to Digivolve into, and if your opponent has 5 or more cards in their trash, he gives 1000 extra power. He's a little more situational than Agumon, but by the time you get to Ragnaloardmon and you start wiping out security, this becomes very easy to meet. Not much more to say about him. The last Digimon I'm playing is 2 copies of Ludomon. Ludomon is the black version of Zubamon, 1000 power, 3 to play, and the exact same effect. When played, reveal the top 5 cards of your deck, add 1 Ragnaloardmon, and 1 Digimon with Legend Arms from your deck to your hand. The rest go to the bottom in any order. So between the two, you do actually have the power to look through 30 cards in your deck. Again, that is a definite perfect world situation. But with that kind of search power, Legend Arms has something that not a lot of decks bring to the table, and that is just sheer consistency. I am going to put out a black Legend Arms deck profile soon. I'm still kind of tweaking it to get the best kind of power deck, but also balancing the defense. So that will be up soon. But with red, I definitely recommend the 6. And I play 4 non-Digimon in the deck, and that is going to be 2 Gaia Force. Gaia Force is super self-explanatory. 8 to play to remove one of your opponent's Digimon off the board, or if they check it as security, you get to resolve it for free. This will definitely hurt a lot of decks. A really well-timed Gaia Force will put your opponent so far back and put you enough ahead to where your glass cannon, the typical glass cannon thought process that the deck has, really doesn't even matter anymore because your opponent will not be able to hit back. I actually played some games against Shine Greymon, and if you time this correctly against the Rise Greymon, they have to rebuild their entire stack in order to resolve Shine Greymon. So that really hurts. And the last 2 cards in the deck are going to be 2 Tai. Tai is the 4 to play memory gaining tamer, And, even more importantly, all of your red Digimon with 4 or more Digivolution sources gain 1 security attack. And that is just phenomenal. It actually allows your Ragnaloardmon to, in certain cases, attack for 5 of their security. Okay, so just to kind of go over some combos and things that the deck can do, if you have the Tamer tie out and then you kind of build up a specific chain, which this will not happen every game. This is definitely a perfect world scenario. Oh, I put the Brightway back and I grabbed it again. So we're on Durandamon in this situation. And then let's say we do Digivolve into Ragnaloardmon to place the Ragnaloardmon into the stack. So he is now a 16,000 power security attack. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then his base brings him to 5 damage. He does also have Reboot, so he will stand during your opponent's next turn. And he has Piercing and Blocker. The Blocker is very important because it allows you to play offense and defense, while the Piercing is very important because you can attack their Digimon that matter while they're rested and still deal massive damage. This is something that I really like to do with the deck, and I don't really see a lot of players doing it. They'll still swing into security while your opponent has rested Digimon. That is never optimal. You're normally going to want to remove blockers and things of that nature. And another thing that you definitely want to swing into is, for example, green has Caressmon. If you can take out a Caressmon while it's rested, not only are you going to be dealing massive damage to their security stack, you will also be removing their main card off of the table. So that is definitely something you do want to think about. While this deck does have the kind of glass cannon reputation, there is definitely a certain thought process you want to follow while you're playing it. Now, in regards to your ride chain, it doesn't really matter what you hit. Even if you don't go into Zuba Eagermon and you end up going into Dark Tyrannomon, yes, you do lose a security attack, but you save a memory overall. So you're going to still have the extra security attacks from Duramon, from the Tamer, and if, let's say the game's going really bad and you just need to manage your resources, taking the cheapest chain up to get into Duramon, and then lastly Ragnaloardmon to get a Ragnaloardmon, or even another Duramon if you absolutely have to get the memory back, you still have a double attacking, or you still have a double security attacking Digimon that's going to have blocker, piercing, and is still going to put a lot of pressure on the table. And that is just something that's really good. And another thing I don't see a whole lot of players doing is utilizing the fact that while your Digimon is in the breeding area, you can Digivolve it successfully and make sure you hit the correct chain while you have another chain that you're building on the field. So, for example, something I did a few games today that a lot of players found very frustrating is that I had a Zubamon on the board and an Agumon in the back on my first turn. The next turn, I went ahead and I had 3 memories, so I brought up Dark Tyrannomon, and I also Digivolved into Zuba Eagermon. So I was able to kind of get an attack off with Dark Tyrannomon, ending my turn by Digivolving into Lava Garidamon. And what it allowed me to do was also have the pressure of building up another Ragnaloardmon in the back. So you can't have multiple on the field to do massive damage. For a deck that is kind of considered rogue or very glass cannon and not worth playing, Ragnaloardmon has a lot of lines of play that not a lot of players think about. So there we have it. This has been my red Ragnaloardmon deck profile. I hope you did enjoy it. Definitely leave a thumbs up if you did, and subscribe if you haven't. Comment below if there's any other decks from 1.5 that you would like to see. If you really enjoyed what you saw here today, my coffee is in the description below. You can leave a one-time tip. But thank you so much for watching. Have a great day. Goodbye.